Welcome to part 3 in the series of sprucing up a 2002 XR100. In part 1, I got the bike running, so I knew that it would actually function properly. In part 2, I started cleaning up the fender in the front and the two side number plates. The front fender came out really nice. It began looking like this. And I shined it up pretty good. Now it's nice and red and free of black paint. The side panels look pretty nice too. So today I'm going to start by cleaning up this back fender. It's actually in pretty good shape. I'm not going to completely scrape this one down or anything like that. I'm just going to get these little specks of black paint off that are still on here and maybe just polish it up a little bit. So I'll start with that today. I got all the little remnants of black paint off this fender, and I also scraped down some of the scratches to make it look a little better. Now I'll just touch it up with this torch to give it a little bit of a shine. And that's a fine looking tailpiece. The next thing I think I'm going to do is remove this exhaust pipe and muffler system and give it a nice shot of paint. As I mentioned in the previous video, I have some leftover high temperature black paint, which I think will be just perfect to touch up this header pipe. In addition to the exhaust pipe itself, I'll probably repaint this shield as well. So I'll start by wet sanding it with some 800 grit paper, and I'll just leave it here on the bike because that's a good mount for it. That way I don't have to try to finagle with the shield as I try to sand it on a workbench or something. This way it's securely attached. The reason I'm doing this is to just smooth out and clean the surface of this shield so that the paint will both adhere well to it and also look good. The shield is now thoroughly sanded with the 800 grit paper, so I'll rinse everything off now. And remove the shield from the exhaust pipe. I've come across a slight problem. This bolt came loose really easily. This one is very tight though, and I don't think I'll be able to remove it without breaking the bolt off in the header, which I want to avoid because it's very difficult to extract a broken off bolt in this rusty old exhaust pipe. So I think what I'll do instead is take off this whole assembly here and sand the parts that are exposed and just paint it as a unit. It'll look just as good as it would have if I painted the parts separately, and I won't risk breaking off this bolt. So I'll remove these bolts here and these back here that secure the muffler to the frame. I've got the bolts out of this flange right here, and almost got this one out here, there. And I've got, so now I can just remove the whole muffler as an assembly. I finished wet sanding my exhaust system. I have it kind of perched here on the tongue of this trailer and hanging on this clothesline as well to just kind of keep it perched there so I can paint it. and access all sides. So now it's dry, and I think I'll put some paint to it. Perfect painting weather. Painting is now finished on the exhaust. Back in black. While I'm waiting for the paint on the exhaust pipe to dry, I'll take this opportunity to clean all this overspray from the previous owner off of these areas that are hard to reach with the exhaust system installed. So I think I'll start out just trying to take this off with some paint thinner, or I might have to polish it with some polishing compound, but one way or another I'll get this back down to the original finish. After quite a bit of elbow grease, I was able to remove most of that rotten black spray paint. There are traces of it remaining though. The next thing I'm going to do is give these accordions a good washing and polish up the wheels. And by that time, I think the exhaust pipe will be dry and I can start putting things back together. So I'm giving these the old brushing spray. It's like this. You take this and just like this. Works great every time. And I'll also do a number on the wheel here. I've got the wheels clean, and I'm working on cleaning this side of the engine a little bit. It had a little bit of overspray over here, and I cleaned it off. There's also some duct tape remnants, and I thought I should mention that if you have to clean off duct tape goo, the best thing for it is paint thinner. And I'll show you right here. I'm actually almost done, but then I thought that could be helpful to somebody to tell them this little tip. So see all this goop here? Just give it the old wipe. As you can hear, I got the whole famdamly out here. But see how that just comes right off. Now I'm working on polishing this rim a little bit. I'm just using standard turtle wax polishing compound, and that should shine up this chrome rim really nicely. In fact, I did this side earlier and it's ready to be wiped off. See how nice that comes out? So I'll do that on both rims, and then I think I'll just go over some random metal bits with the polish, and then I think it'll be time to put it all back together. Still working my way around the bike, cleaning what I can. Right now I'm using an old toothbrush and some dish soap to clean the grease off behind the sprocket here. Every little bit makes it look better. Everything is now clean to my satisfaction. So now it's time to start putting everything back together again. I'll start with putting the cover over this air box. I don't know if I mentioned it in the first video, but this didn't have an air filter element when I got it. So I kind of salvaged one from that old KX, the same one that I took the clutch cable from. And I wedged it in there, and it definitely will filter better than no filter at all. but a new filter that is correct for the machine is definitely in my future. So I'll put the cover on here. Next, I'm installing the chain guard. Safety first when it comes to motorcycling. My newly painted exhaust pipe over here is definitely one of my proud accomplishments for the day. But before I install it, I just have to see what this thing sounds like without any muffler at all. Enough fun and games. Let's go pull this muffler down. The muffler is now back where it belongs, and I have to say, that doesn't look half bad. Next, I'll put on the side panels. Side panels are now installed. Next, we'll put on the front fender. Have a seat. And the last thing to put on are the shrouds. Unfortunately, I don't have a number plate, but we won't be racing, so I don't need a number. I don't like it when I go into an establishment and I have to take a number. So here it is, finished product. Just to give you a comparison, here's some before shots. And here we are again after. And now for the fun part.
Are you bringing it into me? Oh, wow! I thought you were going to kickstart it right here
What do you think?
in my living room. I love it! Looks great! Doesn't have that awful black paint on it anymore. It's nice and shiny and red.
So heal your foot.
I'm working on it. You did a good job.
Thanks.
For health, I always take the stairs.
You turkey, where'd you go?